Okay, so let's wait 1 minute and then we will continue to the class. Just wait few minutes. Okay, so just let's share the screen first of all. Okay. So let's start today class. Today we are going to discuss the chemical energy storage system. Okay. In the previous class, we already discussed some chemical energy storage. That means some battery. So today we are going to under the chemical energy storage, hydrogen energy storage. Okay. So just we wait 1 more minute and then we will continue. So just wait few minutes. Okay, so let's start to the class about the hydrogen energy storage. Okay. So you may know that the hydrogen is one of the most fuel where we can use for the energy transfer in another, just like as a heat or some other part too. Okay, that means if we hydrogen gas use, then we can fulfill our requirement in the other form where the chemical energy is stored in hydrogen. Okay, whatever the. So let's start about the hydrogen energy storage system. What is the energy storage in this form, and then we can use whenever we required. Is it not? So just let's continue. So you may find out the energy storage in hydrogen. That means just like if you concern about this hydrogen uh, representation that is represented by H2. Okay, and we find out in uh, sunlight. Okay, and if you placed here the solar power plant, okay, then the radiation of the sun strike on the plate. Okay, so we may be stored the hydrogen gas from the sunlight also. Yeah. So just I will think about this. So hydrogen energy storage. It hydrogen energy storage is another form of chemical energy storage. We already discussed some part of the chemical energy storage, just like the um, sodium sulfur battery, uh, sodium sulfur battery, nickel and chlorine battery. some other types of battery we already discussed in the previous class. Okay, so you will find out that means the hydrogen gas is another types of chemical energy storage. Okay, so you will find out just like we discussed in the previous class. That means just like yeah, chemical energy storage. Uh, Wait few minutes. Just there. Types of energy storage system, thermochemical energy storage system. We already discussed in the previous class. So you can find out some endothermic process and exothermic process in the previous class. Okay. So the chemical energy process we already discussed some part. Photosynthesis. We already discussed photochemical energy in the previous class. That means the best one of the best example for the energy storage, photosynthesis. Okay, so this is one of the another types of form of chemical energy. Whatever we started discussion in the previous class. Okay, so we are going to discuss here this type of battery. Okay, so just we will find out here. Yeah, some important advanced batteries, that means sodium sulfur battery and zinc chloride and the zinc bromide battery, zinc silver and zinc nickel we already discussed in the previous class. So here we are going to discuss about the hydrogen energy storage system is the one of the another form of chemical energy storage. The chemical energy in hydrogen can be converted into thermal, electrical or mechanical energy. Okay, whatever the energy stored in the chemical form of hydrogen, that hydrogen we can either maybe if converted, then hydrogen actually energy stored in the chemical form, that energy we are able to either use in the form of thermal heat, that means heat, or electrical form or mechanical energy. Okay, so that transfer the chemical energy of hydrogen in the various type of energy. That means either we want to in the thermal or in heat, electrical load can also be drive electrical energy can be used. Okay, with this chemical energy, and maybe some drive some mechanical load, so can be converted into mechanical energy. So whatever the chemical energy stored in the form of hydrogen, that can be transformed in the various type of energy storage, energy requirement used in the various form. Okay, either thermal, electrical or mechanical energy storage. So next we just concern about the hydrogen can be produced. How we can produce the hydrogen? So just from the electricity by the electrolysis of water. Okay, so in which the produced of hydrogen and oxygen from ordinary water. So if you take our main objective to produce the hydrogen. Okay, so if you take the electrolysis of the water, then you can separate in the form of hydrogen and oxygen form. Okay, maybe you know that the molecular formula of the hydrogen is H2O. If it transform by the electrolysis, then it can be break into the H2 and hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so so hydrogen can be produced one of the way by the electricity of the electrolysis of water, in which produced of hydrogen gas and oxygen from the ordinary water. That means their molecular formula is nothing but H2O. Okay, so energy storage system considerable difficulty because the electricity itself is not readily storable. Okay, so it is contrast to electrical energy system. It is not easy to convert because from the it contrasts to electrical energy system. So electrical energy storage system considerably and difficult to be. As we know that the electrical energy cannot be stored in the bulk amount. Okay, bulk amount. Whatever the energy storage device right now available for as that means we can store a very limited electrical energy. Okay, very limited electrical energy. We cannot store the large power of electrical energy. So one of the difficult of electrical energy, that means we cannot that means say that we can energy stored, so we can supply our home or industry to a very long time. Okay. So with short, for the short duration of interval, so that according to the and installation of some electrical energy equipment is also not economical. That's why we are not able to store the large amount of electrical energy. Okay. So this is one of the most difficult things for the electrical energy stored. Okay. So the hydrogen storage system, as we know that this is main factor for the electrical energy storage. Okay. And hydrogen storage system is not easy problem compared to a storage of liquid fuel such as gasoline or oil. Okay. So hydrogen storage system, hydrogen in the liquid form can be stored with the form of liquid. Okay, so it's not the easy problem compared to the storage of compared to the liquid fuel of hydrogen. Okay, so it is easy when compared to the electricity storage system compared to the hydrogen and hydrogen gas and if compared from the electricity storage system. That means whatever the electrical energy can be stored in the form of some battery and some other equipment of just we discussed in the previous class, that means some form of either in magnetic form, magnetic energy in the form of magnetic energy and in the form of in a capacitor also, some very small rating of capacitor, maybe you find their energy storage system. Okay, one of the way of electrical energy. So the electricity produced from the storage of hydrogen, so we can produce the electricity if we store the hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen gas, and then we can use that electricity for our requirement whenever we require to use for our some load in domestic or commercial purpose as well as the for industrial purpose. Okay, so the electricity produced from the storage of hydrogen is one of the most important form for the electricity requirement fulfilled in our uh, social or in our surrounding environment. Okay. The hydrogen can be stored in the form of gases. तो उसको गैस either in can be gas, liquid, or in the structure of solid. Okay, so in this form we can store the hydrogen, and that hydrogen can be stored both from gases, liquid, or some structure of the uh, uh, solid material. So we can more easily transfer from one place to another place through that uh, tank or a structure. You will find out some uh, uh, container for the liquid carry from liquid fuel from one place to another place. Something like that. You may be design some solid structure for either transfer in the gas or liquid form from one place to another place. Okay, from the suppose that hydrogen gas produce hydrogen produced in the one place, and then you may be transfer for the another place for the fulfill your requirement. Okay. So this is one of the important, that means the hydrogen can be stored in the form of gases, liquid, and structure solid form. Okay. So this is maybe stored in the hydrogen gas, may be used for the vehicle. That means suppose that here the sunlight maybe water placed in a cylindrical structure. Okay, so directly if water placed in this cylindrical structure, and then after the hydrolysis, okay, so after the hydrolysis, this water break into the form of oxygen and hydrogen gas after the hydrolysis, or in the place in the presence of sunlight. Okay, so oxygen you maybe go outside in the environment in the form of gas, and that hydrogen gas you may be uh, contained in some storage system. Okay, so that storage of hydrogen you may be used in the requirement place. Okay, so suppose that this is the cylindrical structure where you store the hydrogen gas, or okay, either in the form of gas or liquid. So you may be some specified structure you have to provide for store that hydrogen. Okay, so these are nothing but the hydrogen storage cylindrical structure, or cylinder, you may say that in the form of cylindrical. So this hydrogen you may be used for the fuel of the vehicles. That means if you transfer this hydrogen to the vehicles, then it's again make in the presence of hydrogen gas, make the again H2O, and that will be your vehicle may be used as the fuel purpose. Okay, of this hydrogen, whatever you may be produce through this. So this is one of the way how we can produce the hydrogen, and where we can use. And so the basically requirement for the hydrogen production, we require to water. So okay, so that water in the presence of sunlight, when you for the sunlight, so the hydrolysis, the oxygen and hydrogen gas separated. Okay, so this oxygen go to the environment if your the system cylindrical system is open. Okay. Uh, through one pipe you may be taken out for the oxygen gas, and one of them for the hydrogen gas. Okay, so that hydrogen we can use for the electric sorry vehicles fuel, hydrogen gas. Okay, so this is one of the very uh, important example where we can use the hydrogen fuel. Okay, how we can just make it. Okay, so you may be concerned. So this is known as the chemical energy storage. Hydrogen is one of the nothing but chemical energy storage system. Okay, so I think this is very simple. When we find water and produce the hydrogen. Okay. And next, we just try to see here. This one. So there are 5 principal methods for hydrogen storage. How we can store the hydrogen. Okay. So one is your known as compressed gas storage, either in the gas form, either you may be liquid form, or a linked pipe system. Okay. That means in the pipe system, and underground storage, and metal hydride storage. So these are the 5 classification for the hydrogen storage system. Okay. just we seen one by one that the compressed gas storage, liquid storage, liquid in form of liquid leak pipe system, and underground storage. And last one is your nothing but metal hydride storage. Okay, so just see one by one their explanation in the form of gas storage, liquid storage, and line pack system storage. Okay, underground storage and metal hydride storage. Okay. So you have to keep in your mind these are the five principle or five way we can store the hydrogen. Okay, five way we can store the hydrogen either in complete gas form, liquid form, line packed system, underground storage, and metal hydride gas storage. Okay, so just try to see one by one these things. Uh, uh, compressed gas in storage. So compressed gas storage, you may find out their structure. That means hydrogen is stored in the form of gas, but you have to specified type of structure provide for this hydrogen gas storage. Okay, so uh, this is the structure. That means this one is your carbon fiber. Make a carbon fiber. Composite of this outsider material, carbon fiber. Okay, and the high density polymer lines are this one. This one make so dump protection, and this is the structure. Okay, through this one you can put the hydrogen gas, and if you close this one, so here the hydrogen gas stored in the compressed form. The hydrogen is stored in high pressure cylinder. Okay, so the pressure of you may find out this cylinder is very high. So this method of storage is rather expensive and very bulky because your cost is very high for design the special type of uh, material for store the hydrogen gas in the form of gas. Okay, so this method, that means compressed gas storage of hydrogen, is rather expensive and very bulky because very large quantity of steel or steel and other materials are required. So that means a large quantity of steel, large are needed to contain quite a small amount of hydrogen gas. Okay, for a suppose that you have to hydrogen gas required stored in the gas form, then their structure is very their structure and their material cost will be very high. Okay, so in conventional, the industrial hydrogen system, compressed gas is used to supply the a small amount of hydrogen, very small amount of hydrogen. That means you may be uh, transportation purpose, you may be used as the large vehicle where you install the cylindrical structure for hydrogen gas, okay, and carry from one place to another place of this hydrogen gas. Okay, so from the production of this hydrogen from the plant, you may be carry to the load requirement of or this fuel requirement in the another place. Okay, so you may be use this type of cylindrical structure installed on a large vehicle, so you can carry from one place to another place. Okay, the hydrogen gas in the cylinder. Okay, so if you design suppose that cylinder, okay, for carry this hydrogen gas from one place to another place. So you may find out their structure and material cost is also one of the key factor. Okay, so we cannot transfer in the compressed air, in the gas form of hydrogen. Okay, because the cost is very high. Okay, so it's one of the reason. And next one is second one is a liquid storage form of hydrogen. Okay, liquid in storage hydrogen. So liquid storage is also known as the cryogenic storage. The hydrogen gas in the form of liquid is also known as cryogenic storage. A more practical approach is to store the hydrogen as liquid at a low temperature. Okay. So one of the key factor for the if you store the hydrogen in liquid form, okay. So at maybe install in the at the low temperature compared to the gas also. Gas is at high temperature. We can say that. Okay. Compared to the gas, liquid form of hydrogen is very low temperature. Okay, so just the next one is the liquid hydrogen boils at minus almost 253 degrees Celsius and therefore must be maintained at low or below this temperature in a storage. So hydrogen gas uh, boil at minus 230 degree minus 230 degrees Celsius. So if you want to in the liquid form, so must we try to keep this temperature, that means below of this temperature minus 253 degrees Celsius. Okay. After that, at this instant when the temperature achieved, that means hydrogen start to boil and make the gas form. Okay. So you have to keep in this temperature data. Okay, minus that means minus 253 degrees Celsius. So the liquid, that means in the form of liquid, you have to maintain this temperature. Okay. If achieve the minus 230 degrees, so at this point, the liquid of hydrogen gas start to boils. Okay. And in the last one, it is the liquid about the liquid form of hydrogen storage. It is commonly regarded as necessary to use. Okay. Vacuum insulated storage vessels and super insulated vessels. Vessels that means where you keep the liquid hydrogen. Okay. So it is commonly regarded as necessary to use vacuum insulated storage vessels and super insulated vessels. So when we choose of liquid of hydrogen storage, you have to concern about their storage material. Okay. That means you have to use vacuum insulated storage vessels and super insulated, not in the type of container that you can connecting material. Okay. So that container must be made by the insulated material and vacuum insulated. Okay. Vessels. So that you have to concern when store the hydrogen in the liquid form. Okay. These two data, they are the container material and the temperature. Okay. These two and maintain for hydrogen gas stored in the form of liquid. Okay. Maybe this is one of the key factor you have to maintain at minus 253 degrees Celsius, not easy. Yeah. So next, we just try to last. Yeah. So this maybe find out the structure of the maintaining the temperature, which as you know that minus 250 degrees Celsius is very low. temperature. Okay, so you have to maintain at that one. So to maintain the temperature, okay, so that means maintain the hydrogen gas storage in the form of liquid. It is semi-audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are discussing today just hydrogen energy storage in the form that is nothing. It is one of the form of the chemical energy storage. Okay. So they maintain the temperature at such a low limit. Some kind of primary refrigerator, such as a liquid nitrogen plant, to process the hydrogen. Because the hydrogen in the liquid form, it required very low temperature, almost minus 253 degrees Celsius. Okay. So at that instant, the hydrogen contained in the form of liquid. Okay. So the neat result is that about the 25 to 30% of the heating value of the hydrogen is required to liquid fuel of the hydrogen. Okay. So I know that the hydrogen can be used in the form of fuel where we require to, you may find out a lot of vehicles are okay, a lot of vehicles are use the hydrogen gas in the recent time. Okay. So the net result is that about 25 to 30% of the heating value of hydrogen is required to liquefy hydrogen. Okay. So this is the structure about how we can the liquid of hydrogen can be stored. Next, the third one is our line pack storage. Okay, line pack storage. So the use of line pack storage in the natural gas industry provides a relatively small capacity storage in the form of pipe. Okay, so storage system, but one with a very fast response time that can take care of minute by minute or hour by hour variation in demand. Okay, so we can control the supply of liquid of hydrogen. That means in the line form. Okay, so this is the one of the wave of the hydrogen stored in the form of line pack. Okay, so but one with a very fast response. So you may be uh, take care. That means time that can be in the form of small time interval or maybe large. That means minute by minute you can control or hour by hour variation in the demand. So a hydrogen transmission and distribution system running on hydrogen would have a similar capability, would be reduced because reduce heating value of hydrogen compared with natural gas. Okay, so it is more easy. That means sorry, uh, transmission and distribution system of the hydrogen running on hydrogen would be have a similar capability. Okay. Would be reduced because reduce their heating value of hydrogen compared with the natural gas. You maybe say that natural gas. Okay. So compared to the natural gas, the capability of hydrogen transmission distribution is reduced. Okay. Next is our underground storage. Also, underground storage. See, the cheapest way to store large amount of hydrogen for subsequent distribution purpose would be probably the underground facility, similar to those used for the natural gas. So you may find out the natural gas can be transferred in the underground pipe or something like that. So we can use the underground storage in the for the hydrogen storage. Okay. So this is one of the cheapest way for store the hydrogen for the distribution purpose and transmissions through one place to another place, the underground storage. So more expensive alternative would be caverns produced by conventional mining or dissolving out salt with water. More expensive alternative would be caverns produced by conventional mining or some dissolving out salt with water. And just see there the underground storage system. So just in the hydrogen gas tends to escape readily through a porous material. Some geological formation that may be suitable for the storing natural gas may not be suitable for the hydrogen gas. Okay, so, just as much as simpler for the natural gas storage in the form of underground that due to the geological reaction that it may not be possible for the hydrogen storage in the same capability. Okay, since the hydrogen gas have the tendency to escape radially through a porous material, some specified material. Okay, so some geological form that may be suitable for the storing natural gas may not be suitable for the hydrogen. Some types of material. Okay. Just, last one is our nothing but metal hydride storage of hydrogen. So recently, the possibility of storage of hydrogen in the form of metal hydride. This is the recent technique for store the hydrogen. A number of metal and some alloy from solid compound by direct reaction with hydrogen gas called metal hydride. So this in this metal hydride we can use for the store of hydrogen. So a number of metals and alloy forms solid compound. Some of the metal, okay, and alloy form a solid compound by direct reaction with the hydrogen gas. So that types of metal and alloy may the metal hydrides. When the hydride is heated, the hydrogen is released and the original metal or alloy is recovered for further use. So this is the recent technique developed for the storage of uh, hydrogen. So metal hydride provides for hydrogen storage. So this is the requirement for hydrogen storage. The requirement that means the metal hydride metal should be fairly inexpensive requirement, and the hydride should contain a large amount of hydrogen per unit volume and per unit mass. The hydride should be formed without difficulty by reaction of the metal with hydrogen gas, and it should be stable at room temperature. Okay, so you will find out their chemical reaction of this metal. Okay, so hydrogen released from the air, that we say this one metal plus hydrogen gas makes the hydrogen uh, uptake. That means metal hydride, and from here metal plus is to and just make the fuel cell. Okay, so energy to power car. You can use this hydrogen as the uh, vehicles, that means as a purpose of fuel. So metal hydride is so in the form of metal and hydrogen gas. Okay, so we find out this cyclic retention. That means hydrogen uptake. So metal plus hydrogen make the metal hydride, and hydrogen if released then make again the metal plus hydrogen. Okay. So this is all about the hydrogen chemical energy storage system. The chemical energy storage system, one of the way of hydrogen. Okay. So this is the comparison of various type of storage of the hydrogen. That means this one is your metal hydride and liquid hydrogen, and this one is your the temperature. So this one liquid and compressed gas in the form of compressed gas, 5 kilo temperature, Kelvin temperature and 10 Kelvin. So these are in the liquid form and compressed gas form. Okay, and in this one is your metal form. So we can store the large hydrogen in the metal hydride form. Okay, this one is cheapest to the material usage, whatever for this purpose, and that is okay. So this is all about the hydrogen storage system. So just we stop here, and in the next class we will continue another things.